The Butt Kicker Gamer 2. What you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Ever witnessed someone so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level? The mission of Advanced Motorsports is to demonstrate the speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. For those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsport Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
What a fantastic series this has turned out to be. Now at the halfway point of the Precision Racing League Super Formula Series, going from one Formula One circuit to another. This is the fifth round at the Hungaroring live here on RaceSpot. It's me, Reese Gardner, in the comms box with Mark Kalin alongside me, Dustin Ollis behind the scenes, making sure that all the live pictures are being sent through to you from what is sure to be quite an interesting round. Mark, we're at the Hungaroring for the fifth round of the championship. A track that's pretty much the polar opposite of where we were at Monza last week. There's no super long straights here apart from the start-finish straight. Rest of the track is basically Monaco without walls. Passing will be at a premium here.
100% passing is going to be at a premium. And also throttle control is going to be the name of the game tonight. From what we have seen so far in practice and qualifying, drivers lighten up the rear tires, exiting different corners throughout the track. But like you said, Reese, completely different tracks. Monza with the long straights and a couple chicanes. Then you got the tight, twisty narrowness of Hungaroring. So looking forward to a great race tonight, seeing who can make it in qualifying and pull off the victory tonight.
If this is the first race you're watching this season, just make sure to mark all of these dates into your calendar, because we're going to an absolute salvo of interesting high-level circuits for the rest of this championship. Catalunya, Algarve, Suzuka, and then Kota to finish off the season on the 23rd of May. Keep your eyes peeled for all of that. Plenty of close gaps in the points, not least for the very lead. It's only... that looks like 8 points separating Christian Jasper from Kevin McPherson in the AM standings for the championship. Jake Vasconcelos falling off the wagon a little bit, but he could certainly fight back towards the end mark. This is certainly a close fight, particularly down in the lower reaches of the top 10 for the AM cars.
Yeah, and in the AM division in particular, Alex Guyon there in fourth place. Last week, he was tied with Kevin McPherson for the points, and he just had a terrible incident last week. And unfortunately, you see the result of that currently being 40 points below Kevin currently.
Yeah, it's amazing how much things can change in a single round. What hasn't changed is Michael Diaz holding on to the lead of the championship. J.R. Williams was the championship leader coming into last round, but again, he retired from Monza. So Michael Diaz, there's certainly been a change for the lead there, but what hasn't changed is his commitment and his pace. I'm sure JR will be hoping that this round will smile upon him and he can try and claw some of that championship lead back. Lots of interesting gaps for fourth and fifth between David Sirra and Pablo Valenzuela Uribe. Pablo, of course, finishing on the podium last week, which has elevated himself up to fifth in the standings. But I feel like these standings are full of drivers who were thinking what might have been for the season ahead. Let's move to the teams to the overall standings. My apologies. With the first AM cars down in 7th place. Tell you what, the likes of Kevin McPherson, Jake Vasconcelos, and plenty of other AM class drivers as well, actually finding, Mark, that they are on the mark when it comes to pace.
Yeah, they certainly are showing flashes at times. You do occasionally see the mistakes come through with the AM drivers a little bit more so than the pro drivers. but there are definitely some amateur drivers out there that are really showing that they got what it takes to try and stick it to the pro drivers.
Indeed. Finally, the team standings. Precision Racing Esports Blue closing in on 400 points over the course of the season so far. SRTE White, that is J.R. Williams, and his teammate Andres Espinoza doing quite well over the course of the season. Espinoza getting on the podium at Monza, which has certainly helped them out there. YS Motorsports, that's Kevin McPherson and Jake Vasconcelos. They are in third place overall in an AM team. That is certainly an achievement worth celebrating. Well, Precision Racing League is one of the largest online racing communities in the world, and it is, of course, brought to you by many great sponsors. First off, Advanced Sim Racing, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. If you're a PRL member, you also get a 5% discount on ASR products. All you got to do is use the Precision 5 coupon code at checkout on advancedsimracing.com. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, their button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Just visit raceboxsimracing.com to check them out, and you'll also get a 5% discount on Racebox using the Precision 5 coupon code. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com, also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. Moradness.com and Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution, a great addition to any sim room. And finally, get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. They're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Threads. Well, we are in qualifying at the moment, just about at the halfway mark of the 20-minute session. And at the moment, looks like Precision Racing Esports Blue once again on top of the standings. Mark Boris Ovando has provisional pole position, but Michael Diaz is breathing down his neck. Just under 0.3 of a second separating them.
Yeah, that has definitely become a very common sight here in the Super Formula Series. Just waiting for J.R. Williams to stick his nose up there in the top three, because he's usually pretty good in qualifying as well. Also, Reese, taking a look through the standings, our first AM driver, as I see he just moved up to P4, Steve Baker. He was in P7 before I started talking about him, but great lap from Steve Baker so far. He's also one of those PRE drivers in the AM class, so he has definitely gotten his stuff together for now, and maybe he can have a good race tonight, as he was disqualified last week for accumulating too many penalty points.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Steve Baker. He's certainly shown fantastic pace throughout the season and would have been on for a really good run at Monza if it weren't for those difficulties he was facing. 1 minute 23.7 is his time, and if he can gain an extra 0.3 around this lap, then he could be on for overall pole position. Steve currently making his way through the final sector of this very twisty circuit. A lot of long corners here at the Hungaroring. It's a nice smooth circuit, but you have to be careful to make sure that the setup is with you. You get good rotation through a lot of these corners, because especially up the back half, it's pretty twisty.
Yes, it is very twisty. Got a chicane, a couple of low speed corners. Definitely going to be easy to lose the car in those sections, especially if you grab too much curb at any point. It can cause your car to bottom out, lose grip, and potentially spin out. Maybe ruin your race, maybe ruin someone else's race. Who knows? Anything could happen here at the Hungaroring.
Yeah, Frankie Arvello negotiating the constant series of S's that define the back half of the circuit. Going through the same part that we saw Baker going through just a few moments ago. I think he might have picked up an off track there off the exit of the third last turn here. Of course, the Hungaroring is a circuit that has very wide, very flat curbs, but it's the edge of the red-white curbing that you need to keep your wheels on in order for a lap to count. And Arvello, of course, having his lap invalidated there. David Sirah, by the way, is looking incredibly quick there. Sirah getting up to pole position in the Lavoie Motorsports number 19. That's some of the best pace that we've seen from David all season.
Yeah, David putting in a magnificent lap there. Got 8 minutes to see if it's going to hold or not. You definitely know Boris and Michael and JR himself are going to be hard charging, trying to beat it. And another big mover, Blake Ziti, he's up to P7 with a 23.9. He was down further in the pack up until just a little bit ago. So great lap from him in the AM division.
Yeah, very good lap indeed.
Sorry, Reese. Didn't mean to cut you off there.
No worries. All good. I'm sorry for cutting you off, mate. JR Williams working his way through the final sector, and we'll see if he can improve on that 123.9 that he set earlier on. Just keeping his car on the curb there, and it's not going to be an improvement for JR this time around, but fortunately, there's still plenty of time left in the session. Sirah is staying out as well. That's something that we've noticed quite a bit in the qualifying sessions for this series. The tyres, they are good for multiple laps, so we see drivers going for pretty long runs. It's almost an improvement there for Sirah, but he will ultimately spin in the first hairpin as Baker pulls out of his run. He's going to try and improve on P4 in the dying minutes. What about Victor Awad? He was battling for the win at Monza last round. Certainly got a lot of potential in that number 25.
Yeah, Victor was showing great pace last week. Looks like he's showing great pace again so far this week. Currently in P5 with a 23.7. As he's going to the winding bits of the circuit right now. And I think he could be a contender for the victory again tonight.
It all depends on how those first few laps go. Hungaroring is a very cramped circuit, and when you have something approaching 25 cars trying to make their way through that sector, then it's really difficult to stake your claim and get the space that you need. That's an improvement there for Awad. 123.5 puts him up to P4. Very nicely done. We'll see what the rest of the drivers can do here, like Blake Ziti, who's battling for the AM class pole position with Steve Baker. Currently 0.2 of a second separating them. Does Blake have what it takes?
We are going to see here in just a second as he gets ready to cross the start-finish line. And as Blake Ziti comes along, not going to be an improvement. Or yes, it is.
It is. He does move up one overall position, but is still behind Baker. He's narrowed the gap, though, so he should be very happy with that. Now, it's time for a response from the Precision Racing Esports cars. Seeing that David Sirah in the Lavoie car has made his way up to provisional pole, Boris Ovando now back out on the circuit and trying to improve on that 123.4. All he needs is 1/10 of a second, and he can take provisional pole position back. Oh, he's struggling on the power there coming out of the second last corner. I'm going to try and extend the exit of the final turn as much as he can. 123.210, and that will, or 225 rather, that is going to be exactly what Boris Ovando needs to take back pole position. What about JR Williams, by the way? Sitting P5, 0.4 off the pace. Does he have what he needs here? Sets a 123.6 again. That's not an improvement for JR.
Yeah, I wanted to point out, Reese, when we were riding on board with Blake Ziti, he was able to jump up to P5 from P8. And another tidbit of information for you here. I was speaking to Boris and Michael Diaz of the PRE Blue Esports team earlier today. And unless anything has changed, they told me that they are running 2 different setups in their cars tonight. So they have different setups as of the last information I was told, so they look fairly similar on pace. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know who has the advantage. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, you can get pace in multiple ways at Hungaroring. Usually it's a case of setting up the car to be as pointy as possible because you need the fronts to grip up through that back section. J.R. Williams finding that out here. Also got to make sure that the tires don't overheat, because once they get above that proper operating temperature, you will understeer all the way around this place. And understeer is public enemy number 1 at the Hungaroring. Williams still trying to improve here, and you know, it's very short laps here at the Hungaroring. You know, the lap goes by a lot quicker than you think. That's probably going to be the improvement that Williams needs, and it is. He gets up to P3. Excellent stuff.
I knew he was going to get there. I was confident in it, Reese. I just didn't know when he was going to get there, but he's there now with a 23.4. So great lap from him. Puts him on the same row as Michael Diaz. And I just want to point out, a couple of these drivers are really struggling, Reese. Down at the bottom of the field, Hugo, Galaz, and Jonesy Field, they have been looping the car around like crazy trying to put in hot laps. And hopefully they get it together for this race, because they're going to be very far back from the pack if they can't get that throttle under control.
Indeed. I mean, having a twitchy, pointy car is good at the Hungaroring, as I said, but you got to be careful about the power these cars produce as well. You know, 4-cylinder turbo engines producing upwards of 500 to 600 horsepower. It's a bit ridiculous, the power they can get out of these Toyota and Honda engines. Evander Jonesy Field, as you said, Mark, having a lot of problems there. Oh dear.
Oh,
yeah, just having trouble with traction coming out of these long corners. You want to get on the power as soon as possible, but the moment you spin the tires up in these things, you know, they're turbos. You got to deal with turbo lag.
Yep. And unfortunately right there, just bit Jake, or excuse me, not Jake, Evander in the rear end just a little bit there coming out of that corner, and unfortunately I think it compromised David Sorrell's lap there. He was on the heater, but unfortunately I think it messed him up for the final corner, and he got it off track on the exit.
Well, the session is reaching its final minute now. We'll see what Christian Jasper can do, fighting well in the AM standings this season, trying to improve on what is now 17th place for him. If he can break into the 124s, well, he's going to need upwards of 0.5 of a second to even gain one position here. So he'll be hoping that this lap is exactly what he needs. There's an improvement for Espinosa ahead. Jasper, meanwhile, finally gets into the 24s, and it's a 24.588. But that is not enough to overcome Vasconcelos. The gap is narrowed to 0.06 of a second. Pablo Valenzuela Uribe, meanwhile, has been on steady improvements. He did lose out to Frankie Arvello in the last couple of minutes, but could be on for an improvement on 9th spot.
Yeah, he could be indeed. And I'm currently watching David as he's rounding the last corner coming across the start-finish line, and he actually slowed down just before the start-finish line, so he must have had an off-track somewhere.
Yeah, looks like David Sirar's session is over there.
Yeah, not going to be able to get the pole position, missed out by 0.1 of a second.
Well, keep our eyes here on Michael Diaz. We're hearing that he is up on his previous fastest lap. Diaz currently 2.5 off pole position that Boris Ovando has taken back from David Sirar. Let's see if he can put the power down properly out of the second last corner, a place where we've seen a lot of drivers spinning. And out of the final turn, it never seems to end. Across the line, Diaz will come, and it's a 1:23.41. That is going to promote him back up to 3rd place. J.R. Williams back to P4 as a result. But David Sirar breaking up the train for Precision Racing Esports at the front of the field. Looks like they're all done at the front. We're still waiting to see what Frankie Arvello can do from his position. He's just approaching the middle sector of the circuit now. This super twisty sequence where you can carry so much speed if you get the line right. We'll wait and see if Arvello actually has a valid lap on the cards here, but still, it's good to see that sector demonstrated. Gives us a clue as to how they're going to approach it during the race.
Yeah, and J.R. Williams was on the heater coming up to the second to last corner and decided he was going to pull off into the off-road area. So his qualifying session is over, he will start P4 for tonight.
He will. Out comes Frankie Arvello then to the line. Needs to improve on a 23.7, and he does, but doesn't look like it's quite enough for him to overcome Blake Ziti for 7th overall. Well, that's going to bring qualifying to an end, and we can go through the grid for this 5th round of PRL Super Formula. First season of a new series here, the PRL on RaceSpotTV. Boris Ovando is going to start on pole position alongside David Sirah, with Michael Diaz, Ovando's teammate, starting in line behind alongside JR Williams. Victor Awad, P5, great performance there. And how about Steve Baker, 6th place and the AM class pole position. Blake Ziti will line up behind him alongside Frankie Arvello. Pablo Valenzuela Uribe, podium at Monza last week, will start in 9th alongside Max Shabley for Atomic Racing, who's had a very tough season so far despite his pace. Andres Espinosa also got on the podium last week. He'll start 11th alongside Alex Guyon.
And in 13th place, we have Kyle Lamb with Atomic Racing. Ryan Reeves in 14th. On row number 8, Kevin McPherson, your current points leader in the AM division, alongside Jake Vasconcelos. 17th, Christian Jasper. 18th, Brett Thurman. In 19th, we have Neil Alexander with Andrew Ellis alongside in 20th. 21st, Jean-Marc Cormier. And 22nd, Dave Peterson. 23rd, we have Evander Jonesyfield. And rounding out your field is 24th place, Hugo Galaz. And 25th place, Cristobal Valenzuela.
Yeah, Valenzuela not having a good time in qualifying, 4 seconds off the pace, and didn't set a lap in practice. So I think this is going to be a tough event for him. Hopefully he'll be able to just drive within the limits and take advantage of others making mistakes. I get the feeling that's going to define what happens here tonight. Oh boy, Ovando leaving it very late to get onto the starting grid. He wants his tyres in optimum condition for the start. You get on the grid early and the tyres just cool down as you sit still. So if you try and leave it as late as possible to get on the grid, say with about 3 seconds to go, you'll get it done as the revs rise. They are indeed. And round 5 of PRL Super Formula is go. Bit of a bold start from Michael Diaz, but he will keep up with Sirah coming into the first turn. There's a move from JR Williams, could be to the inside here. No, he's going to back off early as it's side by side for second. Sirah trying to get the power down, but Diaz round the outside had the straighter exit. Oh, he's going to try up the inside into turn 3. This is another one of those corners where you can go side by side if you get the exit right. Ovando still leading on the way out, but Sirah has to yield to Michael Diaz. JR Williams will be chasing down another podium. It's side by side briefly between Espinosa and Vasconcelos back in the field, but they sort themselves out just in time to get to the very difficult left-hand kink. And now we are truly into the twisties. Single file from here.
Yeah, that was a brilliant start from Diaz to be able to get up in front of David Sirah there. And just want to point out, much better start for Boris over Monza last week when he just had some kind of technical difficulty getting off the line. So great to see him being out front this time.
Yeah, indeed, Ovando was fighting his way all the way through Monza until, unfortunately, he was collected by JR Williams at the second chicane late on in the race. So he'll be hoping that he can claw some points back here with a win, and he's doing everything right here at the end of lap 1. Ovando leads by a second as Kevin McPherson has been spun, and he's lost his rear wing. He's going to dive right into the pits to get that thing repaired. I get the feeling we're not going to be seeing too much more of him.
Yeah, it's going to depend on how long it takes to get that damage fixed, but with him being the championship leader, I would say he needs to come back out and try to maximize his points for the day if he wants to have any shot at maintaining at least a chance at a championship this season.
Yeah, AM class championship on the line here, and that's exactly what happened to McPherson there. It wasn't contact, he looped it all by himself, hitting the Armco barrier and losing the rear wing. Such a shame for Kevin McPherson, but hopefully he'll be able to get back out there. Usually though, you lose the rear wing in an open wheeler, that's pretty much race over. We'll have to wait and see. Regardless, now Ovando is jetting away from the rest of the field. Pretty much everyone from 2nd to 13th is within a second of another car. So the race is still very close early on. Brett Thurman with a spin. Meanwhile, that's at the back half of the circuit. Obviously not what you want to see there. Let's see what happened to him.
Yeah, it looks like he just rounded the corner, got a little tail happy there, was able to get the car rode down and not hit the wall and get any damage. So just a little heat on the tires and he's able to keep going. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the last time we see an incident like that either.
Certainly not. Oh, here we go. Overtake button pressed for JR Williams. He's going to try and use some of the 200 seconds of extra power these cars get over the course of a race to push himself a little further forward and try and get past Syrah onto the podium. Meanwhile, Syrah's teammate, Alex Guyon, is side by side with Andrew Ellis on the way into turn 3. Christian Jasper right with them as well. Looks like Ellis getting the move done around the outside there, but Guyon coming back along one of the very few straights that we have at this circuit. Oh, runs wide. That opens the door for Christian Jasper, and not enough power on the exit for Alex Guyon. He's going to have to yield that one. That obviously brings in Neil Alexander as well. Such interesting lines being taken by a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, and I want to say Alex may have just gotten spooked there from a little twitch from Ellis's car and that sweeping right-hander, but nonetheless, he was a little too far wide to the left, and unfortunately, that's not the quickest way around that corner.
No, definitely not. Ryan Reeves and Blake Ziti, the teammates here, running 10th and 11th overall. They've got Andres Espinosa pro car up behind them. Espinosa has not been able to make much headway in this race. In fact, there aren't many drivers who have changed all that much from their starting position. Most positions gained in the field is Andrew Ellis. He's up 5 spots there in 15th position. But other than that, we're seeing drivers maybe a position up or a position down, maybe 3 positions up at most. It's looking like it's a bit of a deadlock to the race right at the start. But, Mark, consistency is key around Hungaroring. I think as the race goes on and we see those tires start to burn off, the cars get lighter, we might see mistakes creep in.
Yeah, and that's 100% accurate. We are definitely going to see more mistakes in this race. I hate to say it, but it's just the nature of the beast here at the Hungaroring with these cars. And I do want to bring our attention to Max Shabley, who is actually currently up up 4 spots to P6 from P10. So great start for Max so far.
Indeed, and that little battle ahead of him between Awad and Williams will certainly give him a chance to get 2 extra positions if the cards are played right. Awad was on push to pass, trying to get it done. He's still got the overtake button pressed, and he'll be using that extra power all the way down the front straight to try and catch up. But remember, they only get 200 seconds worth of it over the course of the race. Williams responds with overtake himself, but it's not enough to keep Victor Awad from going side by side in turn 1. They'll be side by side again through turn 3. And the Max Shabley watching on in the blue car in the background saying, yes, please, guys. Thank you very much. I'm enjoying this time gain for free.
And Victor was doing such a great job through turn 1 there and just was way too wide in turn 2, being way too courteous to JR, which I understand why. You don't want to risk contact this early. However, if he had had a much tighter lane through that corner, he would have been able to pull off that pass.
Yeah, certainly would. Now they've just got to stick single file on the way through this section. It's so twisty, and you know, even thinking about when the circuit first opened in the mid-1980s, those curbs used to be much harsher, so you couldn't even use them really on your way around this circuit. The line would have been much narrower. I'm amazed that Formula One has been racing at the Hungaroring for so long. It does tend to provide good racing, but it's certainly a difficult circuit to pass at, as these drivers are finding out.
Yeah, when you get a circuit that has more corners in it than it does, say, in Monza, I mean, it's just going to rely more on the aerodynamics of the car and the mechanical grip to be able to make passes, but it just makes it that much harder when you're having to turn so much more throughout a race.
Yeah, the tyres go through a lot around a circuit like this. Well, Shabley has not been able to make an impression on Awad and Williams, and he's locked up on the way into turn 3 as... problem for Jean-Marc Cormier at the second last corner, just runs too deep and has to give up a couple of spots there. Noticing that Shabley is having his own set of issues here, and Steve Baker is rounding him up. Remember, Baker, the AM class leader, he's got a good gap over Ryan Reeves and Blake Ziti. He can't afford to get too involved in fights with pro cars, lest he gets sent to the pits with damage.
Yeah, there is a bigger picture for Steve to be thinking about right now, but you know, deep in his mind, that might be sitting right now. He's just a race car driver. He wants to pass. He wants to race. And honestly, I'd probably be doing the same thing if I were in his shoes, especially if you feel like you're faster than the car ahead.
You notice that the green light above the driver's head is blinking very slowly for Steve Baker. That means that the overtake system is on recharge. You get 100 seconds of time before you can use it again when it's blinking slowly like that. Meanwhile, Awad, 100 seconds was up and tried again on JR Williams, but I just can't make an impression. You know, trying to catch up, every time he does, there's something that unsettles the car. Hungaroring's one of those circuits where you're piling on as much downforce as possible, and oh no, that's Christian Jasper who's gone for a spin. It looks like at turn 1, Jasper was running pretty well, but unfortunately having to fall back.
Yeah, currently showing Jasper at least as we look at this battle for Ellis and Guyon for 15th overall, Jasper was shown in 17th place, I believe, at the time of the spin. We'll have to wait for him to cross the line to see where he cycles through. But it looked like he was able to avoid any damage on the car, so that's a plus.
Yeah, that is a big plus. Fortunately, Hungaroring being an FIA Grade 1 venue, there's usually plenty of space to run off the circuit and recover without hitting the wall, unless you've really done something wrong. Here comes Andrew Ellis. Here comes Alex Guyon on Andrew Ellis. Seems like Andrew's getting a little bit unsettled here. What can Alex Guyon do to get past him? As I was mentioning, so much downforce on these cars already, and you're trying to get as much out of the wings as you can around a circuit like this where average speeds are pretty low. So really, turn 1 is the only easy overtaking opportunity on the entire lap. And Guyon is going to go for it here, but Ellis, once again, faster line on the way through, is going to keep it side by side coming into turn 3. And I get the feeling the position will be defended unless Guyon can find something extra in these tyres. Get on the power a little better? No, has to slot back into line.
Yeah, you really have to pinch the inside driver down in that corner to be able to make any headway. And just to point out, Reese, McPherson, right up ahead, has rejoined the race.
He has indeed. Took a while to get the damage repaired. He has re-emerged, is a lap down on everyone else, but will still be eligible for points, I believe. And that could pay off when we get to the end of the season. So keep an eye out to see if there's any further incidents throughout this field that could elevate McPherson up a few more spots. Guyon with a great exit from the S's, and he tries to go for it again, but this time Andrew Ellis, locking his brakes all the way through the turn there. It just looks like when you have a move being put on you, just send it into the corner and you can hold the outside line.
Yeah, but that's only going to last so long. You're going to eventually heat those tires up to a point where they're just going to keep sliding and sliding, and you're not going to be able to turn the car. And then the guy you're fighting with could possibly pull off an over-under or just straight up drive by you.
Yeah, I think that's what Guyon's going to be hoping for in these circumstances. Otherwise, there's really not much he can do to get past Kevin McPherson here. Oh, sorry, Andrew Ellis. My apologies. Getting my cars confused as per usual. On board with Guyon through one of the most fearsome sections of the circuit. This corner right here. You can gain so much time if you nail it, and that's a big move up the inside. They make contact and into the wall for Alex Guyon.
Oh no, that's 2 races in a row Guyon has had mechanical failure, or not mechanical failure, major crashes. And Ellis is having to pull it over and tow back to the pits. Oh my goodness, what has happened?
That was massive. These guys were fighting for 15th spot, and it's really unfortunate to see the battle end in that way. Looked like there was a bit of daylight between them as well, so technical internet problems also playing their part in that incident. Both Alex Guyon and Andrew Ellis maybe will not return to the race. Here's the move from above, and you just see that for Ellis, it was a bit of a delayed reaction. Seems like it took a couple of seconds for the software to realize that contact was being made there, and both of them ending up with massive damage from that incident.
Yeah, I definitely think Casper had a role to play in that incident, but regardless, I mean, that was just terrible from both cars having to be forced out of the race with that incident.
Oh man, look how broken the car is. So much left hand down there. You can't even get it back to the pits in that condition. It only took him a few seconds to realize that. Well, I think it was a brave move from Guyon, to be sure. But when you're putting a move like that on another car, you need both drivers to have all the trust in the world in each other. And unfortunately, I think Ellis might have been taken by surprise there. Meanwhile, oh no, Jean-Marc Cormier, big damage there, and it looks like Cristobal Valenzuela also involved. That's at the same corner when we just saw Guyon and Ellis come together.
I don't know what to say, Reese. That corner seems to be cursed at the moment. Oh man, that's 4 cars in 2 laps.
Yeah, certainly is. And it looks like it was done in almost the same way, but man, Jean-Marc Cormier seems like he just went so deep and couldn't even turn into the corner. Cristobal Valenzuela, meanwhile, touring back to the pits and going old school. It's looking a bit like a Lotus 49 there now. That's the incident there, just straight on into Cristobal and over the top of him as well. Man, Jean-Marc Cormier with a wild ride.
Right, I hope they stay over top of Cristobal's car there, but oh my goodness, he just missed his braking point. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, big shame there. It's easy to miss your braking points around a place like this as well, just because the braking zones are so short.
Yes, yeah, it really is. It's so inviting for these corners to overdrive the entries. Oh wow, Pablo with a massive save right there and almost got wheeled off the track. Holy cow, that was close.
Goodness gracious, that was pretty massive there. Let's check it out on board. Pablo Valenzuela Uribe, big slide coming out of turn 3 and then almost gets sent right into the wall. I think there might have been contact there. Either that or he was right on the ball straightening out the wheel. Regardless, here we are for J.R. Williams. He could finally lose 4th place from Victor Awad here, but they're going to keep it side by side through the opening turns.
All right, Victor, keep a tight line through turn 2 here, and you can keep a nose under JR, but unfortunately he goes wide again. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why we're going so wide in turn 2. It would certainly not be the line I'd be using if I was trying to make a pass, but nonetheless, they are still pointed forward and didn't have to worry about Casper involving himself at all in that incident.
Yeah, certainly. Not many friendly ghosts around Hungary. But yeah, that's the thing about turn 3, though. I understand what you're saying, Mark. If you go a little bit tighter, you would be able to get the move done, but I find it's very difficult to maintain that middle line in turn 3, just because it's so far off camber. The corner is tilted to the outside, and really the only lines you can take are straight to the inside or straight to the outside. You need to have fantastic tires to be able to make that move work. That
is true. It is off camber turn, which makes it exceptionally difficult. but I mean, it's going to have to require full commitment from a driver trying to make a pass on the outside there to be able to hold it there.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem that Victor Awad is facing. He just isn't committing to the move when he needs to. Needs to just throw it in and try and deal with the consequences. Meanwhile, battle for 10th. We're on board with Espinosa here, trying to get into 11th versus Blake Ziti. Jake Vasconcelos isn't far behind either. This is an excellent fight with Ryan Reeves holding on nicely to that 10th spot. Wondering what Espinosa can do to get past Ziti here. Gonna have to rely on a mistake, I think, to really get the move done.
Yeah, especially in this section of the track, passing opportunities are not very plentiful at all. And the only pro driver in this fight is Espinosa, who is the third car in line of this fight that you're currently riding on board with. But yeah, I mean, just it's very difficult to pass on the top half of the track here. You really need to set up for an exit onto the front stretch and hope for a dive into turn 1 or the P3, or excuse me, turn 3. So other than that, it's just difficult, as we see a replay here of Jasper overtaking I believe Peterson right here into turn 1.
Yep, nice late move for Jasper, and a little bit of contact on the way through as well. And considering the way he came off the corner, maybe he has some damage, but still got the move done. And we'll continue on. 3 people who are not continuing on. Kevin McPherson has retired from the race. Jean-Marc Cormier as well. Andrew Ellis, the 3rd driver to join our retirements list there. And Alex Gouillon has spent upwards of 6.5 minutes in the pits getting damage repaired right now. And I don't think we're going to be seeing much more of him from there. Cristobal Valenzuela also spent some time in the pits, but he's back out now. Just a shame to see that Kevin McPherson decided to retire after bringing the car back out. Could have gotten some points there, but evidently decided it wasn't worth continuing.
Yeah, unless he had another issue where he damaged the car again and we just missed it. I don't understand that decision either, Reese. I would have stayed out and tried to maximize my day for points, but unfortunately, I'm not in the cockpit of that car. I don't know what was going on with it. Maybe the wheel damage was too heavy, or I mean, it could have been a host of things. So we can only speculate.
We can. Oh, well, okay. Well, we're not going to be speculating anymore. Let's see what happened to him here. Just catches the curb and into the wall. Okay, well, yeah, that explains it. That will provide the context that we require. Unfortunate there for Kevin McPherson.
Little contact there between JR and Victor.
Hey, this time Victor was on the inside of turn 3.
But you notice how JR pinched him down? And
yeah.
Granted, there was a little bit of contact, but that's the way to do it around turn 3 there.
There it is. Absolutely. Williams and Awad, probably one of the closest fights on track at the moment, apart from that 4-way fight for 10th we were looking at just a few moments ago. Steve Baker and Frankie Arvello are also together. We have Jasper, Alexander, Peterson, and Jonesy Field as well. Those are the main battles on track. That last one for 15th. Ryan Reeves and Blake Ziti still holding on to the front of this fight. Andres Espinosa trying to vault himself further forward and get more points for SRTE White. His teammate JR Williams would certainly appreciate that, running in 4th right now. Could there be a change between the teammates here? Ziti holding on to his position at the front of this pack, but Reeves is starting to look aggressive. Yeah,
Ryan is definitely trying to stay ahead of Blake here as they exit the final corner. I think Blake's a little too far back to try and make a move into turn 1 here, and with him being a teammate, I doubt he does anything to compromise their positions currently. Maybe later in the race they'll throw caution to the wind, but right now I think they're just trying to help each other.
Yeah, just trying to keep Espinosa and Vasconcelos behind for the time being. Well, we're almost at the halfway point of this race, and seeing that things have largely calmed down in the back half of the top 10, so we'll keep our eyes out on this battle for that last spot in that coveted top 10 places. Espinosa, as late as you like on the brakes into the chicane there, but again, just can't get the pace that he needs, and this is the point where you're going to be dealing with dirty air all the way through this section. It's so narrow, there's one preferred line. You know, you can't afford to have too much weight come off the fronts.
No, you can't. And you know, being in the dirty air, especially for Jake Vasconcelos, he has the dirty air 3 cars ahead, so he's feeling the most of it of any of these guys. And what that means is he can't turn the car as well. He doesn't get the downforce onto the front of the car, which he is completely relying on that mechanical grip to make it through these corners, which is why you see him just occasionally slipping away from the drivers on the corner exits. But he makes it up with heavy braking into the corners.
Oh, this is a nice exit from Espinosa. Can he keep up the pace through turn 3? You see how much it's off camber here and downhill as well. So difficult to get the power down in a way that satisfies you. And seems like ZT has got the exit sorted out there. But Espinosa catching up a little bit more through the fast corners. Just can't
Ryan
get
Reeves
it
up
done.
the slowdown, maybe.
Yeah, looks like it.
I think he ran a little wide through the kink, and oh my goodness. Oh no. Big damage for Jake Vasconcelos. That's a front wing broken.
Darn, Vasconcelos.
Yeah, he just pulled right up in front of Vasconcelos in the braking zone and slammed on his brakes. Oh goodness.
Yeah. It's a shame. Tried to resume his position in line while clearing the slowdown, and that caught out Vasconcelos something fierce. So that's a freebie then for Blake Ziti and for Andres Espinosa. But Vasconcelos could be carrying some damage towards the end there. Not the way we wanted this battle to work out. And there you are, just a little far beyond the bounds of the racetrack. Tries to get back in line while slowing down, and Vasconcelos probably quite unhappy with how that went down.
I can't imagine him being a happy camper right now, Reese. That's for darn sure. Even with all this craziness going on, this is still, I believe, the closest fight we have for position. We do have another battle. Oh, as a pass being made here, maybe. No? No, gonna drop back in line.
Yeah, they're just biding their time, I think. You know, saving up overtake for the last few laps of the race. At a track like the Hungaroring, where it's so hard to pass, sometimes you just need to stay in line. If you feel like you don't have a huge advantage over the cars in front of you, best to just sit there, look after your tires, look after the car, save up the extra power, and dump it all at the end if you're able to. Meanwhile, battle for 16th. Alexander, Peterson, and Jonesy Field. Christian Jasper was a part of this battle, but he's skipped away from them now. He's about 4 seconds up the road from this fight, and remains to be seen which of these drivers will have what it takes to get to the end on pace alone. Alexander seems to be the quickest on this lap at least, but last time out it was Jonesy Field who was the quickest driver of this bunch.
Yeah, in solid race so far for Jasper. He had that self-spin early on and dropped back behind these guys and has managed to pass him again and climb up to 15th currently. So solid comeback a little bit for him. Dave Peterson thinking about sticking a nose in there. Definitely way too far back, but wanted to make sure that Neil Alexander was thinking about it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Galaz and Thurman, we saw Brett Thurman unfortunately have issues early on, but he could get a position out of this. Galaz, remember, starting in 24th position. He was the one of the last drivers to actually have a qualifying time set. But now that they're in race conditions, Galaz doing quite well. It's still on for 4th, by the way. Victor Awad still trying his darndest to get past JR Williams, and this time he might have just gotten it. That was a great exit from the first corner, but JR's going to try up the inside of the hairpin again. Awad a little wide, but this time, crucially, he's ahead on exit, and JR would be a brave man indeed to try to go side by side through this kink. Easy does it, guys. Oh, they both have to compromise themselves on the way through the kink, but it looks like finally Awad's gotten it done.
What a move from Victor. Oh no.
Whoa! Too late on the brakes for JR Williams.
Holy cow.
Oh, just avoided getting into the back of Victor there. I mean, there might have been a tiny bit of contact in any case, but...
Oh, JR.
Oh,
my
no.
goodness.
This is a very messy lap from JR Williams.
Take a breath, JR. Take a breath.
Yeah, just a little bit rattled, I think, from the pass there and the mistakes that he then made. Just needs to recover and keep going from here. JR has fallen now down to 9th and could have been a top 5 for him. It's a shame that that happened so late in the race.
Yeah, as we see a replay right here, you see coming into the, I believe, turn 3 exit right here. JR goes for the over-under, sneaks under or to the outside of Victor coming into the kink. They're going to go side by side through here. And then on the exit of this right-hander, JR is just going to get late on the brakes and nearly run over Victor into the chicane, as you see right here.
Yeah, actually looks like there was a bit of contact there. So Williams might be dealing with a tiny bit of damage, not enough to really keep himself, out of the running. But I think he'll have to just rein it in a little bit to the end.
Yeah, I think he may have narrowly escaped that one, because in the heat of the moment, you saw the front wing fall off of it, but it has corrected itself, so I don't know if it's damaged or not. Not looking at it, I can't see any, but currently JR starting a recovery drive.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Boris Ovando still exists in the physical space and is still leading the race, this time by 6 seconds over his teammate Michael Diaz. It's been a well-executed race for Precision Racing Esports Blue. They qualified 1 and 3, have been running 1 and 2, pretty much the whole race from about the end of lap 1, and not much anyone can do to overcome them here. Oh no, problem for Baker. Steve Baker on the exit of turn 1 has spun.
Oh goodness, be careful getting back out there, Baker.
Baker was leading the AM class at the time. And, well, it's something that we've seen before, I think, from Baker. Comfortably in the lead, and unfortunately just one tiny mistake ruining that run there. Great opportunity for points squandered by just going a little too far off the track on the exit of turn 1. Caught the AstroTurf, and there was nothing he could do to recover.
That is so unfortunate. The silver lining being that he didn't hit anything, so he can continue on with no damage. But super unfortunate. Had a brilliant race going with a huge points haul on the table. So he is going to be very upset with himself and driving very angry to try and recover those positions. As he's fallen all the way down to 12th with Jake Vasconcelos on his tail.
Yep, Vasconcelos trying to recover from the issues that he's faced before. A car going into the braking zone a little bit earlier than him, cleaning up the back. Oh no, Evander Jonesy field as well. That's at the chicane, and missing the front wing. It looks like problems with the right front suspension. I don't know if that was contact or not, but I mean, he was involved in quite the battle. Oh, just lost the rear end on the way through the turn, and it looks like the car just went straight on.
That's unfortunate. Jonesy Field was having a decent race, just keeping his nose clean. He started 23rd and was in 18th at the time of the incident, and unfortunately just got it wrong. And it's so easy to do, especially in the later parts of these races with the tires wearing out, the cars getting lighter. So it's making it easier for more wheel spin on exits, as we've just seen between Baker and Jonesy Field.
Indeed. Well, hearing that Ryan Reeves had a little bit of an issue on this lap, and these are all drivers that we were noticing in battles before, but they've just lost out since the battle's spaced out, and that's on the exit of the chicane. Kept it out of the wall. Well done on that, but man, drivers are really struggling with the rears now.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, it's making it exciting for us, Reese, but you know, these drivers are super stressed out right now.
Oh yeah, you know it. Victor Awad holding the fastest lap of the race now. It seems like Awad was just waiting and waiting to get past, and here's the exterior view of the near spin that we saw for Ryan before. But yeah, interesting to see that Victor is now unleashed. Spent all of that time behind JR Williams, struggling to get past, and maybe focusing on saving his tires a bit, maybe focusing on saving his overtake as well, because he's looking very quick right now. Ran 7/10 faster than David Syrah on the last lap.
I was just about to say, Reese, I don't know what he's worried about saving, because he is running down David with ferocity. And I mean, I think next lap he's going to make a pass on him.
Yeah, indeed he will. Let's have a look here at the final sector. Still gaining. That's, man, 3/10, nearly 4/10 that he's got now over David Syrah on one lap pace. But catching up to someone is one thing, passing them is entirely another, especially at a circuit like the Hungaroring. Especially
as we have one of the back markers off the track giving way to the leaders. Very good sportsmanship from that driver. And real quick, Reese, I just want to point out between Boris Ovando and Michael Diaz, if you recall, before the race started, I said that they were on two different setups. Well, I think we can see who has the better setup.
Indeed, better long term for Boris Ovando. Michael Diaz struggling to really keep up with his teammate, and Syrah and Awad, they keep up this pace, might be able to bring the gap down a bit towards the end of the race. Diaz, I think, struggling a bit for consistency around the lap here. So in we go into the final couple of corners. Slight lock-up for David Syrah ahead. Awad, look at how direct the steering is on his car. Seems like he's put a lot of effort into making sure that this setup is compliant on the front, and he looks like he's barely putting any effort in at all, but we know that these drivers are absolutely caning it out there.
And he
35 seconds remaining.
Dives it in deep, really gaining some time there in turn one on David Syrah, did Victor Awad. And you're right, Reese. I mean, that car looks planted. He is just out there on rails. He's able to go as fast as he wants, and the car is obeying all its commands.
Yeah, he certainly is. Note from our producer that he has about 35 seconds remaining of overtake, and we still have quite a ways to go in the race. Round about 7 or 8 laps, thereabouts. Yeah, got 8 minutes on the clock, so remains to be seen whether or not we will get all 33 laps in by the time 45 minutes elapses. But still, you'd hope that he would have a little bit more at hand, because I get the feeling that Syrah has been saving his up a little bit more too. Probably has at least a few seconds worth of push to pass over Victor Awad here. And we are hearing that Syrah has the most overtake left out of everyone in the top 5. Unsure exactly how much, but he does have the most. So it's going to be a bit of a battle here for Victor Awad to try and get on the podium.
Yeah, but regardless, this battle is going to be very entertaining, I think, for us to watch and follow. I believe it's also the closest battle we have on track currently. Looking through the leaderboard here real quick. Yep, it is the closest one. Maybe P11 has a good battle going on, but with these guys being up here for the top 4, I think we stick here for now and watch and see what these guys can offer us.
Yep, indeed. 7.5 minutes left on the clock here at the Hungaroring, round 5 of PRL Super Formula. It's been a fantastic series, really. There's been action all the way through, plenty of drama, plenty of great battles, and this is just one of them. Interesting to see that Awad 2/10 down on David Syrah in Sector 2. So he's lost a grand total of 4/10 since crossing the Sector 1 line. I think that's the brick wall, the metaphorical brick wall being hit as Ovando takes the fastest lap back. Now that Awad is close enough to Syrah to feel the effects of aero disturbance, his pace is just plateauing.
Yep, and that's an unfortunate reality of these type of cars. Once you get within a certain distance of them, it makes it just that much tougher to be right behind them and trying to make any moves. You really have to keep applying the pressure and hope for a slight mistake out of the car ahead to be able to get a run on them into a corner or out of a corner, wherever it may be. And yeah, it's just the nature of the beast, Reese, really. And I mean, it can make it exciting, but it can also make it very frustrating.
Yeah, certainly can. It's just, yeah, nature of the beast, nature of the car, nature of the circuit. Looks like he's catching up here through the middle sector. He just needs to focus on the exit here. Try and hold it as close to flat out as you can and dive towards the inside. He's having a look. He's trying to unsettle David Syrah in the battle for third, but David is holding fast. This is a very intriguing battle, and it looks to me like Awad, he's starting to lose a little bit in the front end. You can see that he's dealing with a bit of understeer here. He's trying to wind the steering on, but the fronts just aren't responding.
He's got a great run right here, Reese. He's going to look into turn 1. Here he goes, inside.
Oh, is this going to be enough, though? Syrah knows exactly what it means to exit turn 1 properly, and he's going to try it here. Briefly, Victor Awad in third place, and it looks like he's done just enough to keep it. Beautifully done from Victor Awad. There is no response from David Syrah. Oh no, Kyle Lamb with a big crash meanwhile. We look at okay, from what we're hearing from our producer, this is a very bad crash for Kyle Lamb. Let's see what happened here. Oh, God. Oh, that's massive.
We're going to need the medical car for that one, Reese.
Yeah, certainly. And you'd be, in any other series, you'd be thinking, oh, safety car too, maybe? But of course, there are no full course yellows in PRL road competition. That's a shame for Kyle Lamb.
It is. As we ride on board, I think we're going to see just a little bit of oversteer, a little wiggle, and then a big bang.
Yeah.
Unfortunate ending for Kyle Lamb's race. He was running solidly in the top 15 at the time of the incident. And sadly, I still don't think with just a few minutes left in the race that it might not be the last one we see.
Yeah. I'm just waiting with bated breath to see who's the next one to fall down the timing sheets. The battle for what is now 9th place, ZT versus Andres Espinosa. Espinosa has achieved his goal of getting into the top 10, but I don't think he's going to be too happy to finish behind an AM car. So what he needs from here is a little more pace over the next couple of laps. He can join his teammate JR Williams in positions that I think the SRTA White team wouldn't be too happy with. I mean, Williams was running up the front before.
No, they're definitely not. I mean, these are your championship contenders currently in the team standings and also in the driver standings, with JR being in the top 3. I'm not sure where Espinosa is off the top of my head in the driver standings, but they definitely expect each other to be higher up the field. And Espinoza and Blake Ziti are actually running down JR Williams. JR, since his incident with Victor Odd earlier in the race, has not had the same pace. So you might be right. His car might be damaged a little bit to where it's affecting his drivability. And these guys are slowly catching him.
Victor Awad with the fastest lap again. He was using overtake all the way down the straight, and he's starting to catch up to Michael Diaz in second. Amazing stuff. Awad took nearly a second out of Diaz on that last lap. We'll keep an eye here on Andres Espinoza as he chases down Blake Ziti very late on the brakes coming into turn one. Just flicks it in and the car responds. But again, it's not quite enough.
No, it's just aero wash causing these cars to not cooperate when they're tucked up on the gearbox of the car ahead. But yeah, Victor Odd currently down to 1.4 seconds behind Michael Diaz. He is coming.
He certainly is. This is Diaz right here. And obviously running a bit more of an aggressive setup and burning through the tires a little more. He's just not been able to maintain the pace. Let's see how much Awad gains on this lap. Man, 2/10 up in sector 1, half a second up in sector 2. How much more will there be as Diaz is on the overtake button as the white flag flies?
And we actually see Bernie flying at this time. Thank you, iRacing.
Yep, thank you very much. Awad, meanwhile, has less than 20 seconds remaining. He has burnt through his overtake now, and I get the feeling he won't have enough to really mount an attack on Diaz. Michael's just responding now with a big old dump of the extra power. He's going to have it for the whole last lap, we're hearing. Meanwhile, Awad, he's barely got any remaining, and I think his pace has finally stalled. So, aside from this battle here, I don't see much else happening on the track.
Yeah, Diaz still on push to pass, has a slow car just ahead of him. May compromise him aerodynamically. Down to 20 seconds left of push to pass for Diaz. And Victor gained just a little bit as we got a battle for 9th place leading up here. And your race leader, Boris Ovando, taking the checkered flag from our flagman, Barney.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff from Boris Ovando. Perfectly executed race, led every lap, and he should be very satisfied with that run. But this battle is still on here between Blake Ziti and Andres Espinoza. Is Andres going to send one up the inside at the final corner? Oh, he just can't do it. He's trying to line it up for a run to the line, but he's just not close enough. Everyone on overtake right at the end. And that is going to conclude that battle there. Just waiting for the last few finishers to come across the line and we can call our official results. But Boris Ovando with a magnificent run here at the Hungaroring certainly made up for Monza.
Yes, it certainly did, and that's exactly what the doctor ordered for Boris. Going to be a great points haul. Only going to gain a couple of points on Diaz there for the championship fight. As Christian Jasper is going to be the final car to cross the start-finish line as he exits the last corner right now.
Yep, Christian Jasper now across the line, which means we can go through our unofficial race results here for round 5 of Precision Racing League Super Formula. 32 of the projected 33 laps were completed. Ovando, Diaz and Awad are your podium. David Sirrar, meanwhile, a fantastic race from him. From 2nd to 4th, did lose out a bit, but should still be happy with his performance. Shabley, meanwhile, made up positions and finished in the top 5. From 10th, Arvelo, Uribe finishing 6th and 7th. JR Williams will be a bit dissatisfied with how that went. Could have been on for a podium, but has to settle for 8th ahead of Blake Ziti and Williams' teammate Andres Espinoza, who rounds out the top 10.
And coming in P11 is your 2nd place AM finisher, Steve Baker. Ryan Reeves rounding out your AM podium in 12th. Jake Vasconcelos in 13th. Christian Jasper in 14th. Neil Alexander 15th. Dave Peterson 16th. Hugo Galaz in 17th. Brett Thurman in 18th. With Kyle Lamb, I believe, being the first of your junkyard cars in 19th. With 20th, Cristobal Valenzuela. Evander Jonesy Field, John Mark Cormier, Andrew Ellis, Alex Guyon, and Kevin McPherson round out the junkyard positions. Unfortunate races for those guys, Reese. Really some heavy hits in that.
Yeah, indeed. Very heavy hits indeed. Well, one of the heavy hitters of the race was Boris Ovando. Precision Racing Esports Blue Boris with a 1-2 finish here at the Hungaroring, and you led the way all the way. You must be very happy with that, especially after how last round ended.
Definitely, really happy with the result. Monza disappointed about that one, but we're really happy with the pace. Got the fastest lap, call it on pole. I practiced my starts a little bit to make sure that I didn't go run this time, and I decided not to get a really great start, but just a good start, and it worked out.
Certainly did. This is a track where it's so hard to get the setup right. We did hear that you and Michael were running different setups. Are you able to reveal what characteristics you were going for around the Hungaroring?
Usually we agree on setup. This time we didn't. He thought that the setup I was using was a little too oversteery, maybe a little too much rotation in the rear. But I thought that the other setup was just bottoming out a little bit too much, and I didn't like that. So that's why we went the separate ways, and both were good. So I don't think it was the setup. I think it was mostly concentration levels. I'm really working on that because I keep making mistakes, and it's due to the concentration levels. So hopefully I can improve on that.
Well, certainly this is a good sign for that improvement, Boris. Congratulations on grabbing the win here at Hungaroring. Championship may be resurrected from here. Hopefully we get a chance to chat to you at Catalonia next week.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Mark.
Boris Ovando right there, giving it his all to take victory mark. We can also get a chance to talk to his teammate, Michael Diaz.
Hey, Michael, great race. Great job on P2. Only 9.5 seconds behind of teammate Boris. What do you think the biggest factor of the pace difference was? Do you think it was the setup or maybe just your driving styles?
Well, I was aggressive at the start to get into P2, and after that, we weren't really going to fight it out, so I just settled in and drove as chill as I could, minimize mistakes or losing the car, and I guess he was pushing full tilt. I really wasn't. I was just trying to bring it home. I had a comfortable lead in the championship before the drop round, so from now on, I was just bringing it home.
Yeah, absolutely no reason at all to risk anything with that points lead the way it is currently. Boris gonna chop into that just by a couple of points, I believe, after tonight. But still, overall, a great race from you, a quiet race, which, as a driver, I'm sure you love to see that. No craziness happening out there. But is there anyone you want to thank for your performance tonight?
Absolutely, the entire team of PRE and Boris, Steve, and Frankie, my direct teammates in here. It's just they honestly did most of the work this week. I didn't have time to do as many laps, so they hooked me up with a setup and P2. So yeah, thanks to them.
Well, congratulations, Michael, on bringing it home in second place, and looking forward to you next week. At the next track on the circuit, which is Catalonia. Are you looking forward to that one as well?
Yeah, it's a fun track. We don't have the chicane, so hopefully the racing will be better than it usually is. But it's a fun track in these cars, so we'll see how it goes.
Great to hear. Well, Michael, you have a good week, and we'll catch you next week at Catalonia.
Yeah, thanks guys for the broadcast, and see you later.
Brilliant stuff from Michael Diaz there. Last driver we're going to talk to from the pro class is Victor Awad, who managed to get onto the podium. Victor, it's something that you've been threatening, and finally you were able to do it. Seems like you were a bit caught up behind J.R. Williams early on there, but once you got past him, the pace just came to you.
Hey guys, so yeah, actually I think I was battling JR for like 158 laps, and all of a sudden he had a brake lock, so I was able to go through. Then I went after the next guy, and sorry I forgot his name, but as you said, the pace was there. The issue is I'm very used to racing with the W13, so overtaking without DRS, without ERS, you have like to build the whole overtaking situation, and it's much harder here. Also, I'm really tired because of the way you have to jump on the curbs and like bounce the car correctly to get a traction on the exit. So it was a very physical race, but I'm happy with the results.
As you should be. I suppose, yeah, coming from the W13 to the Super Formula, having to deal with, you know, a limited amount of extra power available, having to wait 100 seconds in between uses of push to pass, certainly would have been difficult to approach, especially when, you know, you were battling JR for so long and he was just using it in response to you.
Yeah, I kept looking at like the rear light that goes on when the ODS is on, and I was trying always to offset with him, and always trying to go for the inside on turn one. But I don't know how he had. I don't know if I think JR was running really low downforce, because even with the streamline and the OTS, sometimes I wasn't able to catch him.
Well, regardless, finish third you did, and sets you up pretty well coming into Catalunya next week. What are you thinking about your prospects there?
I really like Catalonia. I'll have to, as I said, coming from the W13, I'll have to learn like the racecraft again, because at Catalonia, like, it's the most tire drag track you have on iRacing, practically. So it's all about tire management. But here in the SF23, like, you the only thing you have to manage is to stay between the lines. So yeah, a little bit of racecraft is needed to in my part.
Well, congratulations once again, Victor, and hopefully another podium is going to come your way at Catalunya, and we can get the chance to talk to you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Victor Awad there, third place in the pro class. And overall, finally, Mark, we can have a chat to Blake Ziti, who came away with the AM class win tonight.
Yeah, first place in AM, ninth place overall. Blake, you have to be happy with that outcome. Is there anything you think maybe you could have done to advance your position overall at all?
Hey guys, yeah, I think, you know, it was tough being in the position. I was kind of sandwiched between both my teammates there in the beginning, and you know, I didn't want to be too risky in the beginning and take one of us out. We had a meeting before. The goal was, you know, keep all tires on the car and get to the finish there. So yeah.
Yeah, you definitely did a great job of that, Blake. A very consistent race for you. You did look like you were having some fun battles with Ryan, Andres, and Jake there for a good chunk of the race. Were you nervous at all about the tightness of that battling?
Oh yeah, Andreas was keeping me honest the whole time. He was really putting the pressure on me. Those last like 6 to 7 laps there, and we were about the same pace, but a couple of sections that he was better than me at, and I would regain my time on him in some areas. But yeah, I got a puddle underneath me here, so he kept me honest for sure.
Well, it sounds like you had a good time out there, Blake. Next week is Circuit de Catalunya. Do you enjoy that circuit at all? Are you looking forward to that race?
Yeah, I know the name. I can't picture the track, but I know I've been on it before. The team and I will definitely be on it all week and putting our time in to get those times there where we need to be.
Well, I wish you luck with all that practice, and hopefully we can see you on the amateur podium again next week as well at Catalunya. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank for tonight's performance?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to thank my whole team, the SRT crew. We've really been working together and giving each other feedback. And Mr. John Pat, one of our teammates that we have that's been building the sickest setup. So really happy with everything. Shout out to those guys, and yeah, shout out to you guys for always doing a great job.
Well, we appreciate that 100% there, Blake. And shout out to you on victory. And we will see you next week at Catalunya, bud.
Thanks, guys.
Fantastic stuff. Blake ZT taking the M-Class win here tonight, Mark, and that's going to bring things to an end for us here in PRL Super Formula at the Hungaroring. But of course, next week the action comes on again at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. This is another classic Formula One circuit and a bit polarizing, but I'm sure the action's going to be great here.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of similarities in the style of racing that we saw tonight with the Hungaroring as we come to Catalunya next week, as far as wheel spin on the exits, maybe, especially with that chicane being added in. They took that out for a little while, so I'm glad to see it back, and that should provide some more entertainment as we see cars maybe line up passes entering that chicane.
Yeah, potentially. Make sure to mark that date in your calendar, May the 2nd at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on RaceSpotTV. Thanks everybody for watching. We want to give our thanks to the organising crew at Precision Racing League and of course to all the great sponsors that you've seen up in the top right ticker there. The likes of Advanced Sim Racing, Racebox, Butt Kicker, Moradness, Mr. Hedge and Advanced Motorsports. Really appreciate you all coming in and making sure that this is some of the best racing you can find anywhere. I'm Reese Gardner, Mark Kalin with me in the comms box, Dustin Ollis behind the scenes here on RaceSpotTV. We'll see you next time.